A woman was filmed during a recent school board meeting in North Carolina screaming for a revote after they approved a new mask mandate. Here's that video.
I am not leaving until you do a revote for the people, by the people, and of the people. Now!
Yes. All right, so there it was. There it is. There it is. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Just saying, I had to say it. Also, nice pajama pants. Fashion. I see you're a woman of culture as well. Nonsense points, points aside, of course. Look, there's some serious stuff about this, obviously. And there's a reason you have these school boards that are putting in these mask mandates for kids. The Delta variant right now is surging across the unvaccinated. And as a result of that, of course, you have a lot of these states and localities that are re-implementing mask mandates. Now, school's about to start in the next couple of weeks, and a lot of kids are now at risk. And look, there's a lot of concern. In fact, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, COVID-19 cases involving children jumped 86% in 1 week. This isn't a joke. COVID-19, the Delta variant, is much more infectious, much more contagious than the other versions, than the other strains. And kids right now under 12 cannot get vaccinated. Well, what else are you going to have them do other than wear masks in schools? And that's what they're doing. So now I have more data on this. Now, the Academy also said that kids had made up 19% of overall new cases in the country. That might not sound like a lot, but again, school's about to start. That's going to be a pretty large jump. I think we're going to see it go even further. And while it is rare for children to get really, really ill, and still rare for them to die, the Delta variant does pose more significant risk. In fact, I'm going to go here to Baptist Health pediatrician Dr. Jai Gilliam, saying this, quote, "Kids have died of COVID-19. In general, most children will do well with this coronavirus, but what we're seeing is that early on in the beginning, kids weren't affected as much as we thought they were." Okay, so there's that, right? So that's the good news. Well, I mean, their kids are still not as affected as the rest of us, but, and here comes the but, Gilliam says the Delta variant is far more contagious and kids are getting sicker and more quickly than before. Turns out kids are actually getting sick and dying from it. So one death is too much. If it's your child, it's definitely going to hit home. So kids can get sick from coronavirus and kids can die from this. So we want to treat this virus with respect. Now, of course, asked, how would you protect them? For one, well, get your vaccine. You get your vaccine. Okay, so you don't bring it home to the kids. At least until, of course, kids are authorized to get the vaccine as well, which they are not yet. But the other question is of how you protect them. Well, answered that question by saying, we protect kids by getting vaccines and wearing masks and having them wear masks as well. So this is apparently something this woman is not in favor of. Judging by her shirt, unmask the kids. And so not a good position, not a safe position. And it is definitely something to be concerned about, the level of vitriol that is happening in a lot of these local areas that are making these decisions. Thankfully, the school board did not listen in that particular county, but you see a lot of this happen. You see a lot of this rhetoric, or these people that echo this rhetoric from conservative media that says, oh, the Tucker Carlson, for example, that said, if you see your kids in a mask, call the police, harass them, harass the parents. They should be taken away by the state because that's a form of child abuse. That's the kind of media that these people, these Karens, are consuming. And it is incredibly dangerous. So let's get to the Twitter dunks. Okay. Let's have a little fun. Nicholas Bohack says, "Oh, surprise, surprise. She doesn't accept the outcome of a vote and is stomping your feet until she gets her way. Haven't seen a lot of that lately or anything." She did say, I'm going to stay here until you revote. I wonder if she's still there or if she went home. Racer X says, "They need to stop watching state TV, Tucker mainly. There are many freedoms in this country. They don't have the right to spread the virus to other people who could subsequently die. You have to obey the speed limit. You have to wear a seatbelt. This isn't complicated." Well, look, I know conservatives who would argue against seatbelts. We've all seen them. I'm sure I've personally had conversations with conservatives that are like, no, it's my right to fly through a windshield. Oh, is it? Yeah, it's my right as an American. My body, my right to smash through a windshield onto the pavement. Okay, great. Ms. Cop says, "JFC, I wore a mandatory uniform in school. Hated it. I survived because clothes aren't deadly. Stupidity is. Get over this crap already." Nobel Prize in Sarcasm says, "That's not how voting works." KLP says, "I'm not leaving until democracy means I win always." Another person says, this is Chocoholic Brit, "I live in Buncombe County," which is where this happened, by the way. "These selfish people do not represent me or the majority of our residents. Masks will save lives and protect kids and their families. For fuck's sake." Another person added, "I grew up 45 minutes down the mountain. If you aren't from North Carolina, please realize this does not represent Buncombe County, one of the most progressive areas in the state with a lot of culture and quite good schools." So very important that you don't write off everybody in those areas. Look, I know a lot of progressives tend to do that, tend to write off the South as well, based on one or two people or stereotypes, whatever. No, there are progressive pockets all over the country, and people doing the right thing all over. So I just, want to urge everybody not to completely stereotype everybody. As Trudy Pudlani says, they're loud and angry, but they're not the majority. Well, there you go. I think that's important to remember. The majority of Americans, 68% have had at least one dose of the vaccine. 87% of Democrats, 63% of independents have received at least one dose. 49% of Republicans have. And there's actually a split in the Republican Party between the anti-vaxxers and the crazies and the people who don't want to die. So understand that my point is the anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers are still a minority of the country. Now, a harmful minority, for sure, preventing us from, of course, being able to really put this virus behind us the way that we wanted to, in the time frame that we wanted to, and that's why it continues to drag on and on and on, and, here we go, second wave, third wave, fifth wave, whatever. It keeps coming back. No, it doesn't keep coming back because it never left, because it hadn't had the opportunity to leave. Look, we got rid of polio by getting as many people vaccinated as possible. And yes, sometimes that involved vaccine mandates. But, now, in these days, well, of course, you have a lot of people that are divided. It's a very divisive issue, talking about, vaccine mandates and even mask mandates, which have riled up a third of the country into a frothing rage, like a lot of these people. But again, they're still the minority of the country. The rest of us do realize the importance of masks and the importance of getting vaccinated. And, I think that most of us are willing to do what we need to do to be able to protect ourselves and to protect each other. Most of us are not screaming Karens. Most of us are over their bullshit. We're ready to do what we have to do to try to get back to our lives, despite the Karens who, like this lady, might still be sitting in that building screaming. We can only hope, right?
If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.